beat you to it.
I know. I was reaching for mine. You got me there. Hey, I have a question for you guys. Why has no one reached out to the one person who would be the perfect spokesman for every gambling service on the planet right now, with Major League Baseball having just kicked off its season? Any guesses of who I believe would be the number one spokesperson for any sports gambling site available right now?
For Major League Baseball?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, Pete Rose.
Oh, my God, Alan.
Yeah.
You are the champion and the king of the moment. Yeah. Why has Pete Rose not graced our television sets with... And they could even do it tongue-in-cheek. Hey, Pete, who you got today? I don't got anybody. Oh, Pete, come on. What do you think? You think it's Cincy? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the whole time, Pete's just on his phone. And he's just scrolling on his phone, pretending he doesn't know what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden, there's like a double on the screen. He's like, yeah. And they're like, what happened, Pete? He's like, it's got some gas.
Say,
DraftKings, sign up now.
Pete, you don't have to lie anymore. You don't even have to lie anymore. It's okay. You can just tell the truth. Do what you want. It's legal.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. They're going to make that commercial and you ain't going to see a dime.
I know. That's how my life works, buddy. That's how I just come up with the ideas, and then they get stolen, and then I can say to somebody like, hey, I had that idea back in 1998. and then I tell stories about it where I don't get paid for that either. But me and your brother got in an argument, Wes, over the whole sports gambling thing. I said that if the Pete Rose situation happened today, Pete Rose wouldn't be banished from baseball for the rest of his natural life.
Well, he's not banished from baseball anymore. MLB, the Major League Baseball did lift that ban. I'm trying to remember when. Well, they did it temporarily when they did the all-time team, like the 100-year team, when they had the All-Star game. But that ban is lifted. He's now the Hall of Fame. That's a different entity. That's not Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
really.
This is why because that's why you have Negro League players that get inducted. You have players from the there's not many, but there's female players. Now obviously they work hand in hand. But it is kind of semi silo.
Yeah, it's its own thing. Yeah.
Well, my question, though, is do you think if, let's say, we're all fans of the Orioles, Brandon Hyde comes out and it's like, he was caught betting for the Orioles to beat the Yankees on the home opener on his DraftKings sports app, do you think he gets banned from baseball for the rest of his, for the next 30 years?
I still think those guys have some sort of, agreement to not do that.
Yeah, most professional athletes do.
Yeah.
Because, it's just the potential for fucking game fixing, right? No matter how complex or non-complex it is in your sport. So, I know they do it soccer in England, 100%. And they bet on everything.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Randon Glide doesn't have an account somewhere?
He may.
Yeah.
Remember there was that wide receiver was it Ridley, right? For the Falcons who got busted, who got suspended last year because I don't know if he was using DraftKings or whatever. He was straight up sports gambling illegally through a bookie. Now, that's a bit different and moronic, by the way. But
why wouldn't you just send your sister a cell phone and be like, hey, dude, I'm liking our chances this Sunday?
You're asking the question that every sports reporter asks. Why did that guy do it himself in person? Everyone said no. Fuck it, I'll do it myself.
It's an addiction, bro.
True.
They can't help themselves.
Yeah, that's very true. I understand the bug fully now.
To answer your initial question, though, I do think that's a great marketing campaign. And one of those big players, the DraftKings, the FanDuels, the Barstools, now at BetMGM, one of those would be stupid to at least not reach out. Now, whether or not they have, and he's respectfully declined, I don't know how he couldn't or could rather. But
has Pete Rose ever done anything respectfully?
Yeah, good point. Now, whether or not that's happened, I don't know. I also think, man, when people start throwing around that collusion word, I don't. Sometimes in pockets like this, I don't doubt that shit doesn't happen. They may have gotten warned, don't reach out to that fucking guy. Yeah. We will. You think you're big now? Major League Baseball will bend you over and stick a fucking Louisville Slugger and turn it, and make sure you get splinters on the way in and out.
Yeah.
Do you think? The only other thing I could think of is I can't be the only moron to have at least this thought process of like who could it be? Maybe not the commercial line itself, but do you think maybe Pete would turn something like that down, considering he's not quote unquote banned anymore, and there is the potential for maybe having his heart still beating on his way through the doors of Coopertown?
I mean, there's got like, hold on, Jalen Rose is on one of them. Barry Sanders has been on one of them. There's been athletes who have done these commercials. Now, not necessarily like this is, well, maybe I have it. Who I'm better on. Kevin Garnett, there's one where he's like, I got so-and-so to beat trying to cover the spread. So having pro athletes as actors, paid actors, endorsing these things is not unheard of. I mean, it's relatively prevalent.
But
former athletes, excuse me.
But I mean, Pete's as former as it gets at this point in his career. So right. I think maybe he's turned it down. Maybe he does think that they're gonna make the offer to him before he dies to get into Cooperstown, and so he doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't want to screw that up. I don't know, but he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would stand outside of a major league event while being banned, charging $250 for an autograph. Turn down DraftKings money.
Yeah,
it's true.
Turning this down, holding out hope that the Hall of Fame is still gonna come a knocking or calling. It's gonna be like, hey Pete, listen, we've had let's see here, close to 35 years now to sort this out. We really think that you've repented your sins, you've paid your dues. Cooperstown, baby, 2027. I don't think he's
might not make it to the
qualifies. Yeah, the all-time hit king. He's going to hit the ground walking up the stage.
Awful.
And for anyone who doesn't know, I try to explain. When I say this or make this kind of rehashing facts from the past, this isn't necessarily an endorsement for whether or not I agree that he should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. What a lot of people fail to remember is that when he got caught and then outright denied it, the agreement is that he would be banned from baseball if he never had to admit that he had done that. You see what I'm saying? He agreed to it. He said, sure, absolutely. So there's like people say, well, I don't know why they don't just let him in. Well, he fucking agreed that he would never have to admit that he betted on baseball. So and Major League Baseball couldn't either. He could sue the shit out of him if they had came out to the public and said, yeah, we have all this evidence that you had done this.
So, okay. All right. So what's your point on that though? Is it like he would have had a defamation suit if they said he did, but he would never get back in? But it's almost like they had to know he's lying, but he has to lie to them to say, I'm not lying.
Well, that
you know what I mean?
That was Major League Baseball's stance, though. They basically said, you're never going to admit it. We know that you did it, so here's the deal. Like, you have a lifetime ban from Major League Baseball, and you're not going to get voted in the Hall of Fame, but you never have to admit that you bet on baseball. You can to the public, you can say, never did that. And he agreed to it.
Yeah, but if you want your legacy to be cemented, you have to, even if you didn't do it. It's such a, man, what a catch-22, because it's like, if you want to get back in the good graces, you have to admit to what they want you to admit, even if you didn't do it, which, God, everybody knows fucking Pete Rose did it. Don't take me wrong. But it's like they've painted you into this corner. It's like, all right, Pete, well, we think you're lying. And until you tell us what we want to hear, you're banned forever. That's a rather dick move on Major League Baseball's part, even though it was a rather dick move on Pete Rose's part. Don't take me wrong. It takes two to tango here. It's just that it's such a dickish thing to say, like, we don't believe you, so until you admit to our storyline, fuck you.
I almost feel like he's got kind of like a built-in fucking long play here. Like, if he just fucking, he's always going to be Pete Rose, right? He's always going to have his records. He's always going to, like, so if he does just ride this fucker out and die and they never put him in the Hall of Fame, then Major League Baseball has to explain why their fucking hits leader doesn't exist in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, Major League Baseball then looks like the asshole And what are they going to fucking slander the dead guy? No, probably not. That's no good for PR. Look, I mean, big individuals, sure, I'll slander dead people, sure, but like, not the big corporation's not going to PR shoot themselves in the foot that way. So, yeah, I think maybe he's on to something. Maybe he's just going to ride this out to the poorhouse, right to death.
But that's the thing is I think somebody like Pete needs the glory. I think he wants the glory. I think he wants it on his terms, but that's the problem. Is he wouldn't be Pete Rose if he fucking had it any other way. If he didn't go about this the way he's going about this, a stubborn son of a bitch. That's the kind of guy who gets 4,000 fucking hits, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plays till he's fucking... He was a player. He was one of the last player coaches. You imagine that? Coaches a team, and then every now and then at the ripe age of 44, he's like, give me the fucking bat. I'll get in there. Good scooch. Tim, you're sitting down. Pete's hitting for you. Mike, you take my position in the field after I hit because I don't play the field anymore. I just fucking hit.
That. I just know this kid's dad, and I can hit... If I can hit his dad, I can hit this son of a bitch. He's old man.
Basically.
Well, that's a hell of an ad campaign, Murr. I mean, I don't know, write someone, you email someone. Christ, you gamble enough. You probably got enough free bets. You could probably parlay that into a sales pitch. At least. I'm
not good at parlays.
Middle class was everyone. Murr, Allen, and Fox, man. Thank y'all for joining us. Man, it's a beautiful day today. Beautiful day outside. Fucking mid-Atlantic spring that will last, 2 weeks? Maybe?
Yeah, it'll be like 30 degrees next week.
If you're lucky, and you'll get, out of 14 days, you'll get 10 good ones. You'll have 4 rainy, 1 that's windy as a motherfucker, and I got out. I actually ran on my lunch break. It was amazing.
Wait, so you walk when you're working, and you ran during your lunch break?
Yes, Wesley. I have a regiment, okay? I like to stick, and we had the podcast tonight, so I wanted to make sure I got all my rings closed on the old Apple Watch. So here we are. We're good to go.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, there's something I wanted to ask you guys. This is I've never heard this, but yet it doesn't shock me as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more and more tidbits of information, especially about pregnant women. As I've gotten, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm a savant. I could be an OB or a young pediatrician or anything like that. But Sarah, who is just getting over a little bit of congestion, we were watching a Netflix show yesterday or last night rather, and she got into a little bit of a coughing fit. Is it basically because she was kind of laying down in a position that wasn't expanding her lungs? She coughed, and it's one of those ones that just didn't go away for about 15 or 20 seconds. And then she said, man, I can see how pregnant women piss themselves when something like that happens. I was like, wait, they do that? And she was like, yeah, when they sneeze, when they have coughing fits. I was like, huh. Well, I didn't, I'm not blown away. That's not shocking news to me, but I was just like, huh, I never knew that.
Yeah, well, the vagina is in a very sensitive position at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the biggest turd you ever tried to hold back. It's just, is actually trying to claw its way out at some point. So the wrong sneeze, the wrong laugh, the wrong fart. Yeah, a little leakage is coming through.
Yeah, no, I've known that. Not even just pregnant women. I mean, once it comes out, I think it's even worse. Depending on what kind of damage went on down there. So, yeah, that'll happen.
Post-pregnancy, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a term for that? Is there they have some sort of scientific term for that?
Like
postnatal? Postnatal? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be something though. It's got to be specific to the vagina area.
Right.
Maria had a C-section, so I don't know. We didn't get schooled on that, and she was going natural, and all of a sudden, the last minute, they're like, "We're not sure. Something's going on with the baby, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut him out." Now, and I gotta be honest with you, secretly, not so secretly now, in the back of my mind, I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, man. They get down there, they cut grundles to make space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
I know they.
Yeah,
I heard that
everything's preserved.
They have a nurse or someone from the medical staff that's there just to clean poop.
Yeah,
as poop's dribbling out, just like a saucer ice cream machine. Just bloop.
Think about squeezing out a fucking squeezing out the hardest piss you could possibly ever imagine. You're gonna poop yourself a little, probably. Just say it. There's just the natural. Your pelvic floor has only got so much fucking strength, bruh. It's something's coming out, one way or the other.
They talk about this shit like it's beautiful. Like, oh man, childbirth is so beautiful.
I mean,
it's magical. You're bringing in another human that you two have created, and they got all this. Like you talking about grundle cutting, poop coming out.
Yeah. Well, that's what parents tell themselves amidst the war zone of childbirth. They're like, it's look at it, it's life. We made it. And that's how they get over what they just saw.
Yeah. Well, again, thankfully for the C-section, Maria was high as a kite and had no idea that her organs were basically removed from her body. So this child...
Let's move this real quick. Yeah.
Basically, she's filleted on a counter. I can't see. There's just a big blue tarp up, and all I can see is her neck. She looks like some fucking stage prop from the movie Aliens. And she's like looking over, is he here yet? And then I get this bloody alien-looking creature into my arms, and I instantly start weeping because it's the most... That's love at first sight. Anybody says love at first sight doesn't exist, they have no idea what they're talking about until their firstborn child's like inside their fucking forearms.
See what I'm saying? He's holding a blood-covered meat sack that just came out of another meat sack, and he's like, oh, it's the most beautiful... It's not, but it is to him.
Yeah, it is. Because there's a... Biologically, you don't want to smash this alien... goo pile into oblivion, and you're like, so your genetics turn on to say, this is love it, only love it, don't think harm, it has not harmed your wife, she will survive, love, tap the back, get the mucus out. That's it.
It needs to breathe now.
You should have said, this goes back to our last episode, it's got all this schmetza on it. They're good.
Where are those cleaners with the curly cues? Get them in here, man. We can clean this stuff up.
Something. This is what I was going to say. So when you said Maria was going to do it natural, like you mean obviously vaginal? Was she considering no drugs or no?
Oh
no,
fuck that. She was totally
okay.
gonna get drugs.
Right.
She had no qualms about fucking like getting juiced up.
Gotcha. So this is what I was going to say. My first job that I got down here when I moved to the city at the Hilton, there was a team of us that were all, entry-level technicians, entry-level event techs, one of which this guy was, his wife was expecting. Now, Darren was probably 23, 24, and our boss, DeAndre, had whatever. These people, this is not saying anything derogatory, just sorry, using government names here. He had 3 kids, and they were talking about it. And he said, "Yeah, my wife, we're talking about doing it natural, no drugs, no spine or anything." And he was like, "Excuse me? I fucking beg your pardon." He was like, "No." He's like, this is what she doesn't want, anything that might harm the child in terms of the numbing drug, the especially some of it. She's read some things. She's been practicing these breathing techniques that'll be able to help out with the pain. And our boss was like,
"He's been on Reddit pretty hard."
Listen, mine's just 08, so pre-Reddit, but he's like, "Listen, bro, I'm going to tell you straight up, there's no breathing in the fucking world that's going to help her alleviate the pain that's about to happen." He's like, you need to squash that shit right. How long does he have? Like about another 2-3 months, man. I'd spend every waking second telling her that she needs to get that spinal. Do not do that.
Okay. We've had a weird relationship with, medicine over the last few years. There's been a lot of great things that have come through medical advancement. The reason that, 200 years ago, the average life expectancy was only 35 is because you know how many fucking infant fucking necks were chopped off at the vaginal bit because women were like, I can't do it anymore. And they just smothered a newborn in the womb because they couldn't get it out because of the pain. So there's a 0, and then there's a guy who's like 80, and they balance out at 40. That's why life... So you take what is tried and true, and medical technology in the birthing field is tried and true. You want to go out and get yourself a hot tub, and you want to squeeze one out like that? Okay, get yourself a granola bar and have fun. But give me that little tap in the back all day, every day.
Yeah, you're talking about there's a name for that, isn't it? Like, I know midwives is something that's just not in the operating room, but that doesn't necessarily always mean in a pool or in a jacuzzi, right? you can have that option with midwives, but that's not, you know what I mean? That's not.
I think some of them are just like Reiki teachers who call themselves birthing coaches.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. So like midwives, I think are like semi-medical professionals. You know what I mean? Like they're there, they understand like high-level medical concepts. They ain't doctors or nurses or nothing, but you know, they got some expertise, some learning. And then you've got doulas. And those are just fucking like the bitches who sell crystals and like want you to sign up for Arbonne to make sure your fucking body's tight. You know what I mean? They do sun salutations and show their butthole and stuff. Like that's who you're talking about. And they're like, yeah, let's stick you in this fucking hot kitty pool of water, and we'll just glide that fucking bad boy right on out of you. That's how. That's those people. Yeah, strange.
Wait, now I don't know if this was from the magic of television. I remember I'm not a kid. I want to say like 11 or 12, and I was watching something with my parents on that. Now they weren't showing the birth on whether it be not MTV, MPB. Yeah, it was a Spinal Tap music video, by the way. But no, but you see these newborns then just kind of float like swimming around.
Yeah,
it's kind of came natural.
They shoot out, and then they're like like little fish that just kind of like, they actually do a swim stroke and then bob to the top. Like, why the fuck am I underwater? I thought this was a natural birth, and women naturally don't sit in the goddamn river and wait for a baby to fall out of their vagina.
I think maybe at one point they did, but not. It's been a while.
Yeah.
it's been a long time. But look, I wanted to verify that what I told you guys was correct because I don't want to give you wrong information. And I think that this little paragraph sums it up pretty concisely. There's one significant difference between a midwife and a doula. Midwives provide medical care for you during pregnancy, birth, and the immediate postpartum period. Doulas provide you and your family with emotional, informational, and physical support during pregnancy, birth, and immediate postpartum period. So someone provides medical attention to you to help you birth a child, and the other one says, you can do it. Yeah, I love you. Birth is beautiful.
I would like to learn more about the emotional support during pregnancy. Yeah, that sounds.
While their friend screams in their face, they're like, "You got this, girl. Yas, queen. Hot girl summer. Hot mom summer.
Venus is transiting Jupiter. It's time to push.
It's the perfect time to birth."
We've checked the pH balance of the jacuzzi. Don't worry, it's at 7.
We might catch the heat on this one. Oh shit! Yeah,
whatever.
Hey, well, it is.
Yeah, I think I said one of the hospitals I worked at had a midwives. So it wasn't a part of the hospital. Well, it was detached. But they did have like a building that was specifically for that as an option, because the hospital that I worked at was the birthing. I think they called it. They had a title for it. Basically, they had more childbirths at that hospital than any other hospital in the state. So they wanted to use partly that as an option. I don't know if they were paying them, if they were just subcontractors that leased the building, and people would be like, yeah, I'm thinking about having my child here, but this whole operating room and spinal tap thing just freaks me out. I'd be like, all right, just take a half block down the way. Yeah. Go down there. They provide emotional support. They're very nice.
Yeah, they're like the mix. They're like granola crunching doulas, but they're also like, you might need a transfusion mid-birth. You know what I mean? Like they take into account things that could actually happen and are best handled in a medical setting versus being like, you know what? We should just drive 4 hours out to West Virginia and have a baby in a pool. Just see what happens.
Yeah, the midwife to me is like the doctor's like, I don't know, 6 inches from the catcher's mitt and something's happening on the machinery. The midwife can look over and be like, excuse me, doctor, her pulse rate is actually just increased by about 10 beats a minute. And I think she should get some ATP. I'm making up letters.
That's a thing, but it's not.
Yeah. And then he looks up like through one of his little fucking binocular lenses, like, I do believe she's right. Nurse, could you get some ATP in her, please? Thank you.
Yep.
It's right back to the catcher's mitt.
That's advanced.
And you get a tag. Paper. You get a tag out. It's like, bam, done. Get in there.
Yeah. Advanced toilet paper for the soft serve.
For the soft serve that's coming out.
It's gross.
I also think that what I'm hearing is that the midwives they're kind of like chiropractors. They're doctors But and then what did you say? Doulas? They're people who just learn to crack necks really well without any actual instruction.
Doulas is like your friend's 105-pound girlfriend that you have walk on your back. Like, you know what I mean? That's the doula.
Right.
And then fucking, I guess you could count midwives as chiropractors, but I think they're a little bit less hokey than chiropractors. Like chiropractors are like, I don't know what chiropractors can do, like, as far as like order prescriptions and shit, but like I think midwives could like get like order tests and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? I think they have like hospital privileges, whereas like doulas are like, well, you got to come up to my mountain retreat.
From my understanding, Alan, there's only one drug that chiropractors can prescribe.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ease the cracking, baby.
A lot of pain.
Yeah, right.
Muscle spasms.
Well, now that we have a education on birthing babies, doulas, midwives, spinal taps, soft serve ice cream, and all the other things intangibles of the beauty that is birth, we're going to move on to, I don't know, something much less hokey. The First Amendment rights here in this week's Friend or Foe.
That's right. Going to read a news story to you. See if you agree or disagree. Friend or foe, honking a car horn is not protected as free speech. The federal appeals court in San Francisco has officially ruled. The decision was filed on Friday, and it was the case of Susan Porter, an Oceanside woman who was cited for, quote, unreasonable use of a vehicle horn after she honked an estimated 14 times as she drove past a protest outside the office of Representative Darrell Issa in 2017. So we've got a court case that's been going on for 5 years on 14 ding, 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 okay, annoying sounds of a woman depressing something on her steering wheel. Though the citation was dismissed because the sheriff's deputy who issued it did not show up in traffic court, Porter filed a civil suit in 2018 alleging that her subsequent fear of again being cited resulted in her, quote, censoring herself by refraining from using her vehicle horn for expressive purposes, including, but not limited to, expressing support for political protests, rallies, or demonstrations. She sought to have the court prohibit the enforcement of the Vehicle Code 27001 against what she calls excessive honking, which she argued falls under First Amendment protections. I'm not going to read the rest of it, so bottom line is, woman honks her horn, cops are like, you're annoying the shit out of everyone, I'm going to give you a citation. Traffic court comes, cop doesn't show up because it's bullshit. I'm not going to show up because this woman was honking her horn. I didn't even want to give her a ticket. I just wanted her to shut her fucking dumb fucking arm up and stop doing the dumb shit that was making me pissed off. And then she decides to press the issue. California rules that honking a horn is not protected free speech. So friend or foe? Are horns an extension of your ability to express yourself by either like your middle finger is an extension of your mouth when everyone can't hear you? Is the horn an extension of your voice when you are behind the wheel of a car and maybe the windows are rolled up? So friend or foe, is the horn a form of speech? Yes or no? Alan?
No. I was kind of on her side until she went with the whole line of like self-expression and whatnot. That's not what the horn's for. The horn's for like if we're only saying that the self-expression is limited to anger and or rage. Like that's the only the horn communicative fucking ability there. Like that's all for me. Like I don't honk to support people when fucking firefighters are like honk for firefight. I'm like, nope, not doing that because I don't want to do that. I honk to people to get out of my way, and if I'm raging, but I also don't honk multiple times. I will follow you and hold that bitch.
But is that not an expression of your rage, though? Is my point?
That's the only one. Like I'm not I don't think this support and fucking like it's not even rage that she was expressing. She was expressing I would assume no support for the rally. But either way, I don't think either one is valid. Only rage can be expressed through fucking car horn. That's it. If you're expressing happiness, you fucked up.
Okay, Wes, what if you're horny?
Well, to express horniness or the desire to engage in fornication or sexual activity. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've honked for less. I'll tell you that. I would say, hey, you know what? I don't know what was this out of California? You said,
Yeah.
we got to. Maybe this guy could spread, this person. I'm going to assume that it's a male cop. This person could spread the wealth because maybe when they start horn rallies to celebrate someone being newlyweds, just arrest the whole bunch, the whole lot of them, the bride and groom, all the way back to grandma and grandpa. Fucking citation after citation.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's not rage.
So, yeah, are you answering about friend or foe for the whole thing, or just horny? Just horny?
No, I was thinking of I saw for the first time in like a decade, it's like a fucking unicorn in the wild. And I saw the honk if you're horny bumper sticker 2 days ago, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, we picked this a few days ago. Yeah, that's a good point. No, I mean, yeah, encroaching on free speech. I'm curious about why. I mean, was she that miffed about the cop writing her a ticket, making her take a half day off work, I presume, and then him not showing up, and then everything is waived? She's like, well, fuck this, I'm fine, a civil suit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think about it like this, Wes. I mean, you guys live in Baltimore, where, Alan, you did live in Baltimore, and there was a point where there's a lot of protests going on in the city, and maybe you disagree with those protests, and you want these motherfuckers to get out of the way. Like, they're like, some people are like, getting out of their cars and like, yeah, pumping their fist. I agree with you because we're all special folk. And then you're like, I gotta go to work. Get the fuck out of the way. Like, rather than getting out of your car and yelling, I've got to go to work. Get the fuck out of the way. You're just going, you disagree with what's going on. Move. And then you get cited for it. To me, that says that that's just an extension of your voice. And in a way, that's part of your free speech rights to be like, I don't like the words you guys are saying, so I'm going to drown them out with mine.
Well, you could.
Yeah, but like, again, this is the thing. Like, I think you do get the fucking ticket for being like, I don't like what they're saying. Don't give a shit if you don't like what they're saying. Now, if your argument in court was, I am angry because they are in my way, perfectly valid.
Okay.
I think you could possibly, depending upon how you went about it, lean on perhaps a pretty honest lie and say I was doing it via Morse code. They don't know. You don't know Morse code. I was Morse code. I said, get out of my way. Like, why didn't you roll your window down? Well, it's hot. I had the AC on. I'm going to roll it down and waste AC.
Oh, dude, I would totally be counting the dashes and dots in any phrase I could come up with.
I was going to say, any sound lawyer or fucking state's attorney would be like, all right, do the Morse code right now. Get out of my way.
I need to get in my car real quick. But Wes, friend or foe, is the horn an extension of your speech when you're behind the wheel of a car?
No, all jokes aside, no, I don't think it's free speech when you're behind a car. However, I do think it is a bit jaywalky-ish of this cop to write a citation where there's probably something that he probably had to blow the dust off the old code book to figure out exactly what was ticketable offense here in the situation. But at the same time, he was probably miserable that he was there, and she honked twice, and he's like, if that bitch honks 11 more times, 12 was the magic number. She went over 1. So no, it's not a part of free speech. And if you honk your horn too many times, hey man, every now and then, someone's got to get checked. Someone's going to fuck around and find out.
Here's the thing. I hate horns. I think that they are useless and pointless. Yeah. And I think there was a time when they served a purpose, but since everybody has one and everybody has a car and there's no point you're going to hear a horn unless you're in a fucking like crowded traffic situation, the horn then becomes for everyone. I can remember I almost got in an accident because someone honked the horn and all they wanted to do was be like, hey Tina, how you doing? And I was in the middle of an intersection thinking I was going to get T-boned because someone honked the horn as soon as my car entered it. And I was like, oh shit. And I started looking around like, oh, fucking Tina got a new haircut. That cunt. I hope she dies in a fucking fiery crash after I get through this intersection.
Actually, I hope her hair catches on fire.
People have begun using it for expression, and that's not what the fuck it's for. It's for rage. It's
Okay.
for rage and move. Like, get out of the way and fucking rage.
Or you're about to hit me. Protection.
Yes, that too.
But okay, if that's the case though, and I'm not in complete disagreement with you guys, but okay, what about when someone's car alarm goes off? Because I got to tell you, not one point in my adult life has a car alarm gone off, and I said, I bet somebody's breaking into Ron's car next door. I better hop the fence and see what kind of shenanigans is going on over here. No, I just like shut the fucking thing. Find the goddamn keychain. No, car alarms are absolutely pointless. They're not a deterrent. I can remember a guy was actually trying to jimmy the lock on his car, and the car alarm was going off, and I just looked at him, and he goes like, yeah, lock my keys in there. I'm like, all right. I just didn't question it. I didn't call 911. Could you imagine calling yeah, what's your emergency? There's a car alarm going off right now, and there's a man standing next to it with looks like a coat hanger.
You would then get a violation. You would get ticketed for calling in some bullshit.
So what's the point of the horn? What's the point of the alarm? It serves no purpose but an annoyance for everyone around it. And the other point about the horn is, I don't have another point. I can't even fucking think of one.
There's not much. Yeah. It's useless. I agree with you.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Speaking of free speech, I don't know if they do it anymore, but there was a group of people who had, Christ, what are those kind of boxy, kind of sleek looking, they're not SUVs, but they're kind of designed like an SUV.
I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say, don't worry about it. I mean, the car is obsolete. It's kind of a smaller SUV, but it's not one of those sub SUVs or whatever. But anyway, these guys put in a fucking air compressor with like a bullhorn underneath, and they just scare people with it. And that shit, they scare thousands upon thousands of people over 50 YouTube videos, and every time it's fucking hilarious. It's someone just doop 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 doop, and 99 most of the time people get a kick out of it, but you do get that one asshole who's just like, no, come back here.
Well, I finally stumbled upon, my stupid old brain finally figured out the point about the horn. Alan, you said it's for rage and it's also for warning, right? Like, hey, look out.
Yeah.
That's a form of speech, though, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I think it's I guess, but it's very specific. Like, it's only just for that. Like, it's not made for like, I like ice cream and fucking and fucking illegals should go back to their country. Like, it's not for those things. It's for move the fuck out the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's for. You're a dickhead. Like, that's what it's for. Like, it's pure fucking unadulterated rage. That's what it's for. And a nice congenial warning. Hey, I'm gonna hit you. Or, hey, you're gonna hit me. Like, don't do that.
Hypothetically, Alan,
is on rage anyway.
Hypothetically, if we knew a guy that could get some sort of like mega horn attached to like a microphone, that you could wear while driving, would you then, use that? Okay, free speech. Get the fuck out the way. Hey, you dumb, whatever.
It's different. No. Yeah, like if I was rolling down the street in like the ice cream truck, being like, yeah, fucking raise taxes on poor people, and like, and that's perfectly fine. I'm expressing myself through a voice message, not my horn. Like, at least I'm fucking being proactive. I'm using words. I have to have complex thought, not just bang, bang, bang. I don't like these people. You know what I mean? Like, but are you just riding your bicycle into my, like, get the fuck out of here? Like, that makes sense to me. That's
but again, that's expression.
You're right.
It's a form of expression. So I don't know.
I think it's just made for that one thing, and that's what it's for.
Yeah, but you never know when that one thing is. Maybe you do need to scream like illegals need to go home, like,
that's
because they're
come and check out the wonderful Blues Brothers. They're performing tonight.
Or maybe we should just all have fucking PA systems in our cars, and just be done with it. You fuck the horns. Give us a fucking little microphone and fucking speaker.
Man.
Ooh, I don't want to get into it.
Go
Go ahead, Wes.
I was going to say, I just think we've gotten distracted enough in the last 15 years of driving. I don't know if we can add anything else. Like, we need to distract less.
Yeah, it is really bad these days, I think.
Well, and again, I don't want to get onto an anti or positive Tesla, Elon Musk nonsense conversation that we always get into, but maybe if the cameras on the cars were able to kind of decipher the situation and the scenario every time it hit the horn, it had a like AI pre-programmed message, like instead of honk, it was get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Ice cream man, I love you. Like
race for impact. Like
you can customize it, like create your own soundboard. Yeah.
Or you could get a soundboard. That's right. I got like 4 options. They're programmable, and that's all I got. That's my expression. I can't just be honking the horn 15 times near my fucking local Starbucks.
Right.
You can't be doing that. That's disruptive to people. But go fuck yourself. Like just one time out of your car. Boom, done.
Right.
Get your point across.
Go fuck yourself.
And then you're not really distracting others for the most part. People are like, oh, what's that? Oh, somebody did something crazy.
Someone turns over to wonder what that is and smashes into another car. Yeah. Hey, who told me to go fuck myself?
True.
Well, I will reluctantly say that I guess the foes have it. Horns are not an expression of speech.
Yeah.
Dicks.
Don't worry about it. Just honk your mail truck horn made by Northrop Grumman tomorrow. Get that out of here. Just fucking.
Do they even have horns on that thing?
Yeah, you got.
They do, but we don't have any. We don't have pressure plates for them. They don't make them anymore. So, like when you push the steering wheel, it just doesn't do anything. Actually, one of them, when I put it in park, it honks real quick.
Wow. Every time?
Every time you slam it in the park, it's like and then you got to get out and then me being the easily embarrassed type, every time there's somebody outside of a business and like sorry, I don't know, it's the car, it does it when you put it in park. And then I just walk on embarrassed. I'm like a Larry David skit, just fucking like, it's the car, it's not me. I didn't honk at you. I didn't mean, it's not. Yeah, it just I don't know. Have a good day.
That made my night. I get it.
That's the episode right there.
The inadvertent horn honk.
Northrop Grumman horns.
Northrop Grumman horns. I'll figure something out in park too. Oh, Christ. Well, thank you for that one. All right, let's transition into something something away from our civil rights, freedom of speech, and just make ourselves smarter.
Let's get in to your Fun Fact Friday. Here you go, my friends. It's officially time to learn yourself something through our Mental Floss Amazing Facts. Of course, brought to you by our good friends over at the Shin Splints Recovery Group and our new friends at Flat Earth Science, Advocates for Truth. If you've ever looked out over the horizon and said, that ain't bending, that ain't Beckham, there ain't no Beckham going on over there, that means this earth is flat, then you need to express yourself, not through your horn, but through your keyboard at the Flat Earth Science Advocates for Truth page on Facebook.
Wow.
Sorry, I was grasping at straws like always.
Dude, it was fantastic.
Yeah, you pulled a big golf straw out of that one, bro.
Yeah.
So here we go. Your first amazing fact. Did you know, at the turn of the 20th century, eccentric Webster Elderly advocated Ralph.
Yeah, why do you pick these motherfucking shit? These
I don't pick
27
them,
consonant German fucking vocabulary words.
This is Monday, April 10th, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't pick them. I just peel them, all right? At the turn of the 20th century, eccentric Webster Edgelry advocated Ralstonism, a kind of health cult that promoted wellness through peculiar behaviors like putting weights on the balls of your feet and having sex only once every 8 days. He later partnered with the company that would become Ralston Purina, the makers of pets and cereal food.
So, I mean, if that guy was alive today, you said this was the turn of the 20th century, so 1900. Fast forward another 123 years, he'd be on like one of these 30-second TikTok or YouTube short things. Like, if you put balls in the bottom of your feet and have sex once every 8 days, you'll live 5 years longer on average. Science.
I just wonder what kind of like health food he was making where eventually you're like, the dog seems to like it.
Whoa, this Wikipedia is wild, bro. Did you know that he came up with the Magnetism Club of America? Don't know what the fuck that means. But fucking the Ralstonites were to follow strict dietary guidelines. For example, watermelons were supposed to be poisonous to Caucasians. Just found that interesting.
Well, then later on, they found out.
It feels like there's some veiled racism in there.
He said you were supposed to only have sex once every 8 days. Wasn't it watermelon rinds that made you horny? Wasn't that an old fact?
Oh, maybe that's it. See, there you go.
Stay away from the watermelon. I want to get you all turned up.
It was founded to give its members mind control. So there's that.
Wow, I feel like old Webster Edgelry would have been a great candidate for the Flat Earth Science Club.
He was at the very least an advocate for truth. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah, straight. That guy reminds me of like a Ghostbusters villain or something.
It's really weird. Like this Wikipedia is a very strange entry. I suggest you go peruse it. It's only like 2 paragraphs.
Say if you were like either a writer or a director or both of a movie, and you made that the name of your villain, there's maybe a couple hundred people in the U.S. now 3 more that would understand what that was. Hey, Webster Everly? Oh God, look at this! Such a smart director. Great writing in this movie. Everyone else is like, what the fuck name is that? Jesus Christ.
My cult of magnetists will consume you. Did you know baby rabbits are called kittens or kits, not bunnies? What? Mature females are known as does, while adult males are called bucks. Bunny, meanwhile, falls into the same category of cutesy terms such as kitty or doggy. They're not specific, but everyone knows what you mean.
Did not know that.
Bucks and does.
I know,
yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. Makes me want to like if I hit a rabbit, like, oh, got me a big buck last night.
They were naming deer and rabbits at the same time, and they were like, fuck it, let's just do it. Nobody will figure it out for a long time.
What, fox children are kits too, right?
They're kids, I believe.
No, that's goats.
Oh, is it goats?
Yeah.
Oh, are fox kids kits, you said?
I think so. There's all sorts of
kits. Kits are kittens.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
It's crazy.
Didn't know that.
I don't know why. Why do they got to make things all fucking weird? It's just like this pediatric cultivation of these animals that don't speak, talk, really do anything other than procreate and add value to the food chain.
Well, if you want to get into a really deep dive for no reason, but like the reason like we call it beef instead of cow, it's because like the French were like the elitists and they would have their boeuf and the peasants couldn't have it. And so it was always just known as beef moving forward. So the bad animals, the dirty animals that the commoners ate is called exactly what it is. And the good animals that the royals ate are called like weird shit that we don't call it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did you know? Actually, I know you guys know this, but I feel like some fun stuff will come out of it. Air Force One isn't the name of a single plane. It's the call sign used for any Air Force aircraft that the President of the United States is currently on, though in practice it refers to a couple specific planes. If a president is on a civilian aircraft, such as a personal plane, the plane is known as Executive One. Air Force Two is the call sign for any aircraft carrying the vice president. Now, I will say I actually didn't know the different, like how you differentiated Air Force One and Executive One. So this was helpful there.
Yeah, I did know this.
Yeah, haven't they? But haven't they identified like the planes? You know what I mean? So they retire an aircraft after so many years. That's it's not necessarily like per president, and I don't remember they have a certain lifespan, but there's been only so many of these that have been a part of the fleet.
I'm talking about like the big blue and white one.
Yeah.
No, they're called something specific, like really dorky aviational bullshit. Right. Until for inside baseball, when like those guys playing the game, when the president gets on, it's officially Air Force One. Right. When he's not, it's like the Thunder Force 747. Like
this is Iron Eagle 222. Iron Eagle, Robert Gossett Jr.
Robert Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah, but no, I don't know. Yeah, it's funny that like a Cessna. So technically, a Cessna could not be Air Force One. It could be Executive One, though.
Good Lord. I'm sorry, I'm just reading fucking Air Force One facts.
Oh, dude,
I also wonder. I wonder if you get chosen to be a pilot or a co-pilot, a part of that fleet, if you are the creme de la creme, and I would hope so. But I'm thinking like, what do you think you have someone who's who flies? Let's see here. Who's the major sponsor for the English Premier League?
You're like the league?
Yeah.
Barclays?
No, okay, sorry. So I'm trying to think of the one of the major plane companies.
Like the Emirates flights?
Yeah, like you think like someone who flies one of those like double 747s at Emirates is just as qualified, no, okay.
No, I've done some research on the Air Force One planes and like who can fly them. Like you have to be skilled at flying commercial aircraft, but you also have to be skilled at flying a fighter jet, because the Air Force Ones that we're talking about are a combination of the two. The modern one, not the Bush era one, the one that actually Trump I think was the first one to fly in. Apparently, like its specs are classified, but they have hinted that it can go supersonic, so it can go over Mach 1. So could you imagine a commercial jetliner going fucking 800 miles an hour?
800, and you're probably sipping coffee too. Like, God,
yep.
Boy, this is delicious.
It feels like it's physically impossible from sheer size, but I'll take your word for it. But there is a lot of cool shit. They are known as VC-25s. They're 747-200Bs that are altered to Air Force One specifications. So obviously all of his like stateroom shit, conference rooms, dining rooms, all of the accommodations. 2 galleys provide up to 100 meals at one sitting. 6 bathrooms. This is pretty fucking intense.
Yeah, it has a Faraday cage, which means it can't be hit by an EMP, and it has defensive capabilities and also attack capabilities.
Yeah,
as we know from that Harrison Ford movie. Oh, that Harrison Ford movie. It can be taken over if you don't do pre-fight checks.
Also, isn't there a here's the guy who talks like this. He went to Russia. He's a black belt.
Steven Seagal.
That's it. Isn't there a Steven Seagal movie where like they attach the plane like a stealth fighter to the bottom, like suction it, and then like he dies in the first 5 minutes?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I only watched Steven Seagal movies.
Air Force One is the one that was it Harrison Ford.
Yeah, but there's something I think.
I think it's a Clancy novel too.
Yeah, it might even be that. Maybe they try to save him immediately, and then it all goes awry like within the first 5 minutes. But yeah, there's a movie where Steven Seagal suctions himself in a stealth fighter to Air Force One and gets blown up like immediately. And everybody's like, "I thought Steven Seagal was in this movie." He's like, "He was for the first 35 seconds."
It's weird. That guy gets casted. I don't know, likely in like the prime of his career. I rented a movie once where Jean-Claude halfway through gets sucked up by a rather robust propeller of a boat and gets manateed. And I was like, I've watched Bloodsport, nearly every other Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Didn't know there was one where he just gets Air Force sucked. That's cool, though. Wait, you said something. I wanted to ask you a question. You said not the Bush era, so you're talking about the second Bush president.
9/11, he was up there. They realized, basically, because of 9/11, they realized, like, as capable as that plane was, they learned from that, like, how incapable it was as well.
Okay. So and then you said it what they have now turned out via the Trump era. So was the Obama era all trial and error?
Nah,
New engineering.
Here, I'll tell you right now. So there's two in active duty right now. Tail number 2800 and tail number 2900. Tail number 2800 went into active service in 1990 with the original President Bush. And then 2900 fucking was introduced pre-George W. Bush. And that's the one, that was the one that transported him on 9/11. And those are still the two that are in fucking service currently. And 2800 was the one that took Obama to Cuba. So those are the two that function primarily currently right now.
Okay. I thought they got two new ones right at the beginning of the Trump administration, but they take it takes them a decade to get these things ready. Because Reagan was the one that was we need basically military capable jets for the president to fly on, and that's why HW got them first, because Reagan started them in the 80s and they weren't ready until Bush took over in the 90s.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because that interesting history, because I guess presidential air transport started in 1944 with Franklin Roosevelt, but I guess they hadn't officially christened anything Air Force One until it was first used in the 1950s for President Kennedy, VC-137.
Kennedy was elected in 1960.
No, hold on. First used in
Eisenhower?
No, 1962. Hold on, I'm just kind of skimming it because it's fucking detailed.
Gotcha. Well,
probably way too detailed, by the way, for somebody who actually cares about America and its classified secrets.
Yeah, right. Well, it's the Air Force website, so I hope they're not giving too much away. So while the call sign Air Force One was first used in the 1950s, President Kennedy's VC-137 was the first aircraft to be properly known as Air Force One. Okay, that's what it was.
Nice.
Huh,
well, speaking of presidents, did you know Abraham Lincoln wasn't meant to be the keynote speaker on the day he delivered the Gettysburg Address? That distinction belonged to Edward Everett, a distinguished scholar and orator who took the stage before the president. Everett's speech clocked in at around 2 hours long and was met with critical acclaim at the time, but it's now a mere footnote in history compared to Lincoln's 2 to 3 minute address.
Mm-hmm.
God. 2 hours long. No wonder it was met with critical acclaim. She should have been met with tomatoes and lettuce heads and booze, and they should have fucking quartered him.
Yeah, but you're talking about an era where they didn't have anything else to do that day.
We're going to go watch something that's in person, standing, someone talking, as long as those people didn't know what Gone with the Wind was. But, in retrospect, if I were to go watch someone talk as long as Gone with the Wind, that motherfucker better be a stand-up comedian, and it better be a Chappelle or a...
Like Burr said, man, it was a different time. You gotta keep in mind that the setting for that was fucking a bunch of war-weary fucking soldiers at fucking Gettysburg. And then, a bunch of fucking aristocrats in carriages around them being like, oh, we're going to watch President Lincoln speak. And fucking, there's guys, bleeding out, fucking getting fucking limbs hacked off, fucking right on the other side of the fence. And fucking, they're just sitting here watching these two guys, one guy talk for an hour and a half, and then the president talk for 2 minutes.
Hey, boys, you want to go peel some rotten potatoes, or you want to watch Everton for 2 hours?
I keep in mind, in the early parts of the fucking war, in Northern Virginia and shit, aristocrats would go and sit on hilltops and watch these motherfuckers just battle, like it's a picnic. It was wild times back then, man.
We got fruit as an appetizer. We're gonna have leg later.
Do you want to go watch some of our friends and family die from definitely fucking non-mortal wounds? Let's go do it. We'll take some cheeses and meats.
Yeah, no, I can certainly now that you put that into perspective, I can see how someone was, 2.5 hours of hearing someone talk might be entertaining. Yeah,
and then Lincoln gets up there and is like, "Well, false score 7 years ago."
He's like, "Mic drop."
God damn it!
We waited all the time for this shit. It's like when there's a first round knockout in the fucking headline fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I waited till 4 a.m. for this bullshit. God damn it.
And finally, did you know, according to Frito-Lay, Cheetle is the official name of the neon orange dust that sticks to your fingers and that is brought about by eating bags of Cheetos.
So he just made that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not Schmetza.
Well, it could. You know what? Cheetle Smetza.
Cheetle makes it sound dirty.
Yeah,
I don't want Cheetle on my hand. My hand's all covered in Cheetle. Ugh.
You know what?
You just lick it off.
The first dirty joke I ever heard as a kid involved Cheetle. And it was a guy goes to the doctor and he says, the doctor's like, well, what's the problem? He's like, I don't know. My dick keeps turning orange. He's like, okay, well, why don't you write down a log and tell me everything that you've done throughout a day and it turns orange again, come back and we'll go through it. And finally the guy comes back and he's like, so it turned orange again, huh? He's like, yeah. He's like, so let's go through the list. And it's 4 a.m. Why? Oh, 4 a.m., huh? He's like, yeah, got a little randy, could put a videotape in. Ate some Cheetos, woke up the next morning, my dick was orange. Yeah, not a great joke, but I was like, oh, adults tell things that aren't supposed to be said.
Cheetle. And they use the word Cheetle?
No, they didn't use the word Cheetle, but now that I know Cheetle, all the memories are flying back.
Yeah, I'm going to use it now.
And that, my friends, is your Fun Fact Friday.
Oh, all right. Tonight on Before You Go, this is actually from about a week and a half ago. So, no, about a week. That's okay. No worries. Unbeknownst to a lot of us Americans here, well, not a lot, but it was so prevalent.
There's a lot of qualifiers going on here, Wes.
When it started, the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, when it started, was every day. And sometimes, since it's not covered day in and day out, you forget it's still going on. But it's still going on. It's still a war. There aren't people talking for 2.5 hours, followed up by a former or a current prime minister talking for 4 or 5 minutes. Anyway, Russian activist got cocky with the Kremlin. I had to read that because I thought that was hilarious. The Kyber Sportiv, or Cyber Resistance group, pulled off a ballsy stunt with Russian war volunteer Mikhail Luchin, who had been collecting money to buy drones for the military. So it turns out the Cyber Resistance caught wind of this. They hacked the order, which was $25,000 to be spent on drones. And do you guys know what the $25,000 was then purchased? Dildos. An entire collection of dildos. Big ones, small ones, black ones, white ones, brown ones that went in circles, ones that had rivets in them. The largest, most robust worldwide collection of dildos you can imagine was then sent to this to this Russian war activist. Don't know if he's going to be able to parlay these into anything worthy of war, but your thoughts on not only, I mean, this guy should be, Times should start rallying the troops to nominate this young man or these people for something.
A Medal of Honor. Just a Medal of Honor ceremony, and they have to go through his credentials to give it to him. Oh, I live for that day. Alan, go ahead, because I have a couple of questions that I'd like to throw to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say on it. It's brilliance. I would if we were in a public setting, I would slow clap for this person, for these people. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think it's brilliant work. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah.
See, here's where this is unfortunately where I have to piss on the glory. Now I have already sent this off to our legal counsel. See, hacking is illegal, right? And it's like an international crime. And yet this is also I don't know, is ordering drones okay as long as it's in a military setting? So is then hacking for whimsical purposes in the act of war, is that okay? You know what I mean? I want to know where's the line drawn? Could this guy then be brought to Interpol for some sort of hacking crime, even though we're bragging about it because it's dildos and it's funny? Is it still an international incident?
I mean, I certainly think we're kind of turning our backs, given the what given that it's war and that it was done to Russians. I think. I'm assuming that most of the Western world's rooting for the Ukrainians, right? Most. I'm not saying all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? They're rooting against Russia. Let's say it like that.
There you go. That's fair.
Good point.
I think this is one of those like, this is the way of the world now, right? Like this is war now. Like war is cyber. Like it is what it is. This is the equivalent of like getting the fucking Enigma machine and being like, well, we know what the Krauts are doing now. Like, you know what I mean? It's basically the same exact thing, except now we hack into people's Chinese fucking Amazon accounts and fucking send them dildos. Like, it's just it's a different version of code breaking, if you will.
And my God,
So
I pray that it went down that not all $25,000 went towards dildos, but they saved a few shekels for some authentic boxing that said drones on it with nice fucking packaging tape. And these guys are like, all right, this is it. This is gonna turn the tide of the war. Wait a minute. What the hell is this?
Well, at least they make the same noise.
Maybe this is the remote control.
No, you need two of them.
These are the propellers. You're right.
Hold on, though. All right, so when they say drones, though, I guess they're just talking about like the drones that you use to go out and inspect power lines and stuff like that.
I think they mean the smaller like reconnaissance drones, not like remote control murder machines.
So why don't they just if you have the ability to change the order to dildos, why not just steal their order of drones and have them delivered to you? It seems like it'd be a lot easier just to change the address.
What kind of joke would that be?
Yeah, but what use do I have for $25,000 worth of fucking military drones? Like, I tell you what brings me way more joy. Fucking dildo being sent to a Russian fucking war activist.
What kind of practical joke would that be? None. All right.
Ridiculous. That's just stealing at that point. Like, it's not even funny. It's illegal.
I forgot we're in an active war zone. Both sides want to win.
I think of this they called him. They never identified they identified the resistance group, but they didn't identify the person who did it. But I just think about the young man who was like, "Oh, wait a minute, guys, I got it. I got the joke of the lifetime. Watch this."
It just shows you the Ukrainians. They're so much more powerful than the rest of us. The fact that in war that they can be cool, calm, and collected enough. Like, I'm going to send them 2,500 penises that vibrate.
Actually there's a checklist sheet. You guys spend a couple minutes, pick your favorite ones, throw it in there. I'll just keep
I was
going
to say, I feel like this became like an office thing. He sent like a list around and people checked off like pictures. He was like, we've got long ones, short ones, fat ones, skinny ones, white ones, black ones.
Yeah.
Everything you could think of.
Oh, wait a minute. It's someone, he handed him a brochure and someone slouched and said, "Oh, you want me to buy fucking popcorn from your kid so you can play Little League?" Like, "Oh, no, it's much better.
It's much better looking.
It's much better than that." Open it up.
Oh, boy.
Well, that is tonight's Before You Go, folks. So check it out. Take a peek. The war's still thriving, and then there's $25,000 of worth of penises at the door of the Kremlin. So I don't really necessarily say if they made it to the Kremlin. Definitely made it to St. Petersburg, Russia. So by the way,
not to get like serious or anything, but I heard the last I read, the Ukrainians are actually mounting an offensive to take back Crimea. Yeah. Which is unheard of. Not only have they fought them back, it's like, nah, we're gonna take shit back now. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, well, because that Russian army was like, we are equipped for war in the 50s, and it is not the 50s anymore. And then it took a little while. It took like NATO a little while, but they were like, hey, Ukraine, check out all these modern toys we have. Do you want to use them? And they were like, yep. We would like that very much.
We'll even throw in some dildos for kicks.
We're going to send dildos to them for funsies.
I mean, how do you guys feel about the Russians? Will, they have been throwing vibrators at us for 24 hours now.
Psychological warfare.
We are not deterred.
Well, Alan, tell all the Ukrainian jokesters and pranksters where you can find middle class
Chinese Amazon, AliExpress.com for all your middle class holes merchandise needs. We got dildos, but no, you can really find us on all your favorite social media platforms. We're at MDL Class Holes on Instagram and Twitter. We're the Middle Class Holes on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. That's right. I've got it locked in now, boys. And of course, for your listening pleasures, please check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts.
All right. Tonight on listener comments, Chris, I had to chop this up. Okay, we got so many in the last week that I'm gonna have to push some until next week, and I'm not saying we're at this point, but I'm saying we're getting pretty call to where I'm gonna have to start vetting them. I'm gonna start just the best stuff. You know, I've been reading them all, but we're turning a new leaf. We're going from a 6-inch to an 8-inch fucking hammer dildo, bro.
Shoot.
Yeah, we've upgraded. What's that?
That's deluxe.
That's right. That's ribbed. This is Tracksuits YouTube short. Mer, this is where you talked about wanting to start becoming a suit wearer at your age. Rosemary Fuller says, you are at the end of middle age. The tracksuit is your initiation into old age. You're welcome.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I mean, I guess if you're turning that, if you're at the top of the hill, I mean, old age starts when you crest, right? So I'm okay with that. I've got some really cheap Russell athletic track pants that I've kind of been trying things out with, and I've been venturing out in the public with them, and I'm not embarrassed, and maybe if I buy some designer ones, I'll be okay. And yeah, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Of course, I decided to do this at summertime where it's time for shorts, but maybe I'll get some cheap, and then going into the fall, I'll be a tracksuit aficionado.
But see, the world we live in, man. Get yourself a nice gym short with some pockets. You can walk that, or we can work that around to certain fucking places. You ain't going to dinner with the wife in them, but you can have a lunch. You can have a lunch at a chain restaurant. Something like that. Not a big deal.
Well, Wes actually triggered something when he said he talked about the golf pants, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
we now make a material that's stretchable and lightweight.
Yeah.
Comfortable. It's comfortable enough to play an athletic sport in, yet look like you're going to dinner. And I'm like, okay. I think I might be dropping a couple $100 on a few pair of them.
Yeah.
And just being like, hey, you guys want to see my nutsack while I walk around public?
Or when you sit down and you get a full look at the crotch, you're going to see two kind of half Cadbury cream eggs sipping between the seam. That's how you know you've gotten it. That's how you know.
I'll tell you what, there will be a fucking breeze blowing right through those fucking bad boys. You're gonna be so cool. It's gonna be comfy. You're gonna be comfy and cool.
I think that's gonna be the first purchase. I think I'm gonna buy a pair of golf pants first, and then I'll transition to the tracksuit pants.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I wear Adidas golf pants and I love them, top notch.
Beautiful. This is coming from another YouTube short, Mr. Rogers' Dirty Secret. Mer, this is where you explained him farting and flatulating in front of his wife. Alan Spears writes, I love him even more now. Yeah, us too. How
do you spell Alan?
ALAN.
Yeah, nice work, Alan Spears. You did it.
I think he's related to Randy. You guys know Randy Spears?
I was going to say Aries Spears, but either way.
All right. New roller. Go ahead, Mer.
No, I was just going to say I started watching that Tom Hanks Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood movie or whatever. And, man, Fred Rogers was a saint. And just the fact that he lifted a cheek every now and again, that just makes him a little you need that little bit of mortality to ground the legend.
Yeah. New rollerblading on Instagram. Psych Tyson writes, Murr is incorrect here. With a little more research, he can see the scope of how big inline skating was through the 90s and the 2000s. I was skateboarding then. If you look at the industry numbers, inline skating dwarfed skateboarding by tenfold. Everyone stopped rollerblading because Murr stopped. He stopped because he was giving off those vibes.
I think this is accurate.
Yeah, I mean the scroll said so.
This sounds like canon, so I'm in.
So you're telling me if I strap some rollerblades back on, the industry takes off again? Is that what
I might buy my first pair if you do.
I'm not gonna lie, because of this, I actually went to like rollerblade.com, like the official like name brand rollerblade site. I just have some advice to the rollerblade company. You're overcharging for a product that people don't necessarily want right now. So, I mean, the base model is like $100, and nobody wants the base model. As soon as you step up from the base model, you're already at like $175. I'm like, I don't think I want to dedicate $175 to something I'm already quasi embarrassed to put on.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
See,
The price, or like when they first came out, was justified, right? They were like new and fucking technologically advanced. We know that's not special. Like, we figured you out. They're just fucking, yeah, you can't be charging that much. Maybe for, like, pro-level blades or something, you know. I don't know what that means exactly, but...
Neither do I.
Yeah, grind plates on your shit, I guess. I don't fucking know. Yeah, maybe. But, yeah, that's way too expensive. Fuck that. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Next up, self-checkout, self-discount. Murr, this is where you suggested that if you go through the self-checkout line... not only do you like raise up produce to save yourself a few dollars, but if you get it right, you should save a few shekels, a few percentage points is off the bottom line. Hamsteak says, I didn't get the training for the counter. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Hamsteak then said, well, usually if I'm going to be working a machine for a company, I would need some sort of training. And even then I would make mistakes. I'm also still waiting for my paycheck to arrive. I hope that has come in since you wrote that. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Next is
you don't get wait. You don't get that? That's tongue in cheek. Like he's saying,
no, I get it.
like oh, no, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I don't know. We need like, all right, Ted DiBiase your ass.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a Bill Burr joke. Is like, I don't work here, and if I did, I'm going to get fired today because I'll make a lot of fucking mistakes, and that's exactly the point. And I actually followed Alan's advice today because I got some apples, some rather pricey apples, Alan, and I as soon as I punched up the screen, it asked me what type of apples, and I was like, motherfucking Macintosh, bitch.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Sanic writes, Galaxy Crisp apples are the best apples.
Galaxy Crisp?
And then, yeah. And then Keith
good.
Kern writes, cheating the store on bananas that are 35 cents a pound, saving big bucks.
Every cent counts, Keith. Every cent counts, buddy.
Yeah, fuck you.
I feel like I'm winning a bet, though, when I do that, though. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter how much it is. It's that I won something. I came out on top somehow.
Yeah,
yes.
You do walk out of the grocery store feeling like you got away with a little something. You didn't outright steal. You didn't put something in your pocket. You didn't stuff some produce or like a half pound of beef down your crotch.
I almost yelled at a woman yesterday because I was going to get bananas, and okay, if you go to get a bunch of bananas, right? Like what is a hand of bananas? Is that what they're officially called? Well, sometimes there's too many fingers on that hand, and I guess this old lady lives by herself and is like, these are gonna go bad before I eat them all. So she ripped a single banana off and put it back with the rest of them. A single banana. I could see if you had like a bunch of like 6 bananas and you're like, I only want 3, and you ripped it in half. But she was like, nope, I don't want this banana. So who's gonna buy that banana? That banana's just going to die right there on the fucking countertop. No one's buying that banana. No one's going to say, like, ooh, there's a 7 bunch of bananas. I need an 8th, and attach it to it.
Yeah, someone needs to tell that woman. You said it was an old lady?
She was probably like 65.
Yeah, you could freeze, freeze the other stuff.
I don't think
Take
that
the
works
6,
like that.
freeze 5. Yeah.
don't think.
What, bananas? Can you freeze banana? I mean, I'm
Hell
sure
yeah,
you can
because
freeze
then you
bananas.
blend them and you make a good old milkshake.
But you got to peel it before you freeze it. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I got had frostbite on my fingertips trying to get the. All right, last comment for the evening. This comes one of our. Listen, this thing's withstood the test of time, and this is back when it was the 410's podcast, and this is back when the icon / video is just a still frame. This is when we were just doing audio recordings. Did Dottie drop?
Shit.
Did Dottie drop the ball? It's still a top, maybe not top
Still
5,
coming back around.
but top 7 viewed YouTube clip, folks. This is where we debated whether or not Dottie Henson in A League of Their Own dropped the ball on purpose when her sister Kit Keller blew her up in the climax of an all-time great, not just sports movie, but movie of all time. Lorenzo Ramirez writes, I think she was letting go of always wanting to be number one. And she, as you see in the beginning, she always wanted to beat her sister. At the end, she had to let go of it. Like in the beginning when she tells the little brother who beat his... Wait, sorry. This is a typo, by the way. I'm going to skip over that. She was always number one, and then she let that go. That's what I got from it. I mean, she held on and beat her sister at everything, and then she let it go, and then she was happy. So,
Goddamn right.
You guys are like, yeah.
Fucking
I don't know.
poetic.
I mean, we apparently me and Murr watched the same fucking movie, and you did not.
Yes, you and your brother fucking like were busy looking at Ukrainian dildos and just like, we got the ball.
There's probably something like if the 4 of us all went and sat down with a therapist to just discuss just this fucking point, that we'd probably find out some hard truths about some people.
I know a therapist. We can get to the bottom of it.
We can record that. I think that's good content.
I would just start screaming, Doug Flutie got screwed. That's, I don't know. That's how that session would end.
She dropped the ball.
Doug Flutie didn't drop the ball. Doug Flutie didn't drop the ball. It was pulled out of his hands by a GM. And he was handcuffed.
He never had a chance.
Kit got to run. That's it. All right. Thank you, folks. For those of you who missed out, Cuxter for Life, Redwood Trees, and Professional Ball Rubber, we'll get to your comments next week on the 420 episode. That's right. We're recording on 420. Hey, the themes could be wild. Could be unimaginable.
I think we can imagine exactly what they are.
It's Doritos.
Cheeto dust all over the place.
Cheeto dust everywhere. Good night.
'Cause I get drunk most every day.